Being a disciple who makes a disciple is not rocket science. There's no need to complicate it and make it something that it's not. We've boiled down our approach, our strategy, down to 5 simple steps. The first step in our strategy at Youchoose is simply to connect online. We have our weekly videos of mini messages that we hope will engage you, and you'll hopefully watch those videos or read the blogs and find them practical, challenging, and relevant enough to like or comment on, or even share with those who are in your social networks. But quite simply, discipleship starts with evangelism. Jesus' Great Commission says, "Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you, and surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." Jesus says, as you go, make disciples. That's the command, to make disciples, and that typically starts with evangelism, baptism, choosing Jesus before any of the other significant teaching. So the second step in our strategy of being a disciple who makes a disciple is choosing Jesus. Now, we have other videos available on a different track of making that first and most important decision. So if you haven't already done so, choosing Jesus is the most life-changing step of all. The next step is also important, and that's sharing Jesus. The Great Commission falls apart if we miss this important command. Once you've accepted Christ as your boss, the Lord of your life, then the Great Commission kicks into high gear, starting with evangelism, baptism. And a part of this step is your story, your testimony. God has changed your life. Your story of meeting Jesus is crucial to seeing others that you know meet Jesus too. Doesn't matter if you have a huge dramatic transformation or if it's less than cinematic. One thing's for sure, you need to share it. We'll have future training videos and ideas on how you can effectively write your story so that others can choose Jesus as well. A fourth step in the strategy to make disciples is an awesome one. We're encouraging you to launch your own simple church. What? Yes. So what's a simple church look like? Glad you asked. It looks like this: a spiritual family with Christ in the center as king, who love God, love others, and make disciples who make disciples. It's the revealed will of God in the Old Testament to love God and love others at the top of the triangle in the bottom right. That's to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. It's the revealed will of God in the Old Testament. It's the revealed will of God in the New Testament. A simple church is kind of the whole point of why we do what we do. It's the fulfillment of carrying out the Great Commission and the Great Commandment. Now, I realize it's a little out-of-the-box thinking, especially if you're used to the established American church. But let me make sure you hear this. We aren't replacing the typical American church. We're coming alongside the church and adding to what's already there. Not only does this make sense, but it sets us up to start a movement of multiplication and not addition. And just a side note, how cool would it be to do community, do ministry, do church, faith, life, whatever, with your 11 closest friends and family? We can help make that happen with some minimum standards and best practices. The final step in our strategy of discipleship is the grande of them all. Maybe I should say venti, or even trente for you Starbucks connoisseurs. And that's to have your simple church start launching more simple churches. Remember, your discipleship that starts with evangelism doesn't stop with just you, or even with your simple church. It must keep going because more people need Jesus. So we'll help train you and your simple church to keep reaching out and encouraging those that you know to launch their own simple church just like you. And together, we'll accomplish the GC squared, the Great Commission and the Great Commandment. And in turn, you will be a significant part of helping us accomplish our vision to launch a movement of simple churches, starting with the first 20 in the next 2 years. And all of this is accomplished by a process we call duckling discipleship. The Apostle Paul said this in 1 Corinthians 11:1, "Follow my example as I follow the example of Christ." You've all seen those videos where the mother duck is walking along with all of her ducklings following along behind and all in single file line. Well, Jesus is the mother duck and Paul's right behind Jesus and we're all following behind Paul. The key is you only have to be one step ahead of the person who's following you. You don't have to be a spiritual giant to launch a simple church. You just need Jesus and to keep putting one foot in front of the other. It's actually a beautiful thing, a simple thing, a simple way of doing church. And we have a system to equip you to make it happen. Yes, it takes great commitment to God, but it's not overly complicated. We'll have more discipleship videos to help you grow over time. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our update list so that you don't miss a single video, blog, or training, because these tools help you become true disciples who make disciples. And if you're ready to launch a simple church or want to know more information about how to make it happen, then click one of the buttons below to start the process. Until next time.